It seems that the stock market these days is kind of like riding a roller coaster. One second you're up, the next you're down. And those quick changes make having someone in your financial corner even more important these days. Davis Garrison III from Preservation Financial Group is that expert who keeps on top of the ever-changing economy, and he joins us this morning. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
I love having these talks with you about the stock market is so volatile right now, but you keep your finger on the pulse of so many experts. What can you tell us about the foreseeable future?
Right now, well, nobody has a crystal ball right now, especially with everything that's going on with China, in Mali today,
right,
in Paris. That's just adding to the volatility. But the biggest thing that has caused the volatility in the S&P 500 index this past year to date has been the oil sector, the energy sector, and it's down 53.58%.
Right.
So it has dragged the entire index down. We brought a couple of slates, prepared a couple of slates. One of them is the S&P 500 index year to date, if we could show that right now. And we've also prepared one for the energy sector. And so you can see the extreme volatility and the drop off on the energy sector. It is the S&P 500 index represents about 83% of the total market. It's 505 companies. And the strange thing about them is that 5 companies, the top 1% of the S&P 500 index, and this is just out in Forbes, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and General Electric, those 5 companies have generated more gains than the entire rest of the S&P 500 index. Amazon was up 104% year to date. So it is a very volatile time, just a lot going on, a lot of skepticism, doubts. Like I said, it's impossible to tell. The analysts that I follow predict an 8.2% gain in 2016, but we're going to be lucky if we break even with the S&P 500 index in the market this year.
You know, it's kind of a two-edged sword when it comes to energy, when it comes to oil, because we like seeing the lower gas prices at the pump, but that lower gas price has a price with it itself, doesn't it?
Exactly, and that is why there are 10 sectors in the S&P 500 index. The energy sector itself has brought the whole index down just by itself.
What are you giving? What piece of advice? I mean, most people are coming in, they're seeing this volatility in the market, they're coming in to Preservation Financial, seeking your help. What is the first piece of advice you give them?
Well, we approach things differently than the brokerage world. We specialize in safe money investments, and we also, the money managers that we use are active money managers. If they see a trend, a downward trend in the market, they're able to move into cash, into safety.
Right.
We call it de-risking a portfolio. If they see an upward trend, then they're able to move back out of cash, and they're quick on their feet. And so those are the type things we don't have the losses that we saw in 2008. The S&P 500 index was down 57%.
Right.
The worst fund that we had was down 7%. So just because of the active management and the safety of the vehicles that we use, we just don't have the volatility that the brokerage community has.
And it's so very reassuring during this time of volatility is to have someone in your corner to help keep your money safe, and that is Preservation Financial Group. And they're located there on Sunset Drive. I tell you what, they can take care of your money and keep it safe. And Davis Garrison III, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Chris.
We'll have more Daytime Tri-Cities coming up.